All right, friend, so for this quick and easy recovery session, all you need is a lacrosse ball. You could also do this potentially with a tennis ball and a yoga block. And what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be working on getting some release through the pelvic floor, through the pelvis. And I have found over the years, especially this past year, as I've really dived into postural strength, postural correction, and the pelvic floor, everyone has a pelvic floor. Men, women, everyone has one. And far too often, I think we neglect our pelvis. And it's the role that it plays in especially our hips. If your hips feel tight or you're having hip pain, odds are you're also having an issue in your pelvis, whether it's just stiff and you're lacking in proper range of motion through the pelvis. It can also be things are too loose and they're not, the tendons just aren't strong enough to really support you through motion there, through your pelvic floor. And regardless, this release work can be really powerful. So without further ado, we're gonna take a yoga block, we're gonna take a lacrosse ball, and I want you to put your feet up on the wall, and we're gonna put our block underneath one hip, okay? So this hip is gonna be a little elevated, and I'm gonna let the other hip drop down a little bit. My lacrosse ball, I'm gonna set along the edge of my sacrum. You can think about that as my tailbone. So I'm gonna place the lacrosse ball like right here along the edge of my tailbone, and I'm gonna play around with getting some release along that. So I'm gonna place my block under this hip. Just find that spot where I feel stable, where I can drop this other side, okay? And then I'm gonna place my lacrosse ball along the sacrum. And what I'm gonna do here, I'm just kinda gonna play with my body. And you'll note how this knee is a little shifted higher. I'll show on the other side too. It'll be a little easier to see on that side. But I'm gonna do some abduction, adduction here. Letting my knee kind of fall to the side and come back. And just relax. And I'm also gonna play with some pelvic tilts. Kind of tilt my butt in and go into an anterior tilt here, just a little bit. And just kind of play with that. It's gonna be likely pretty tender. And you can also move the ball just kind of up and down as you play with this and your tilts. And you can also just kind of put it in one spot that feels particularly tender, and you can just breathe. Breathe in, expand, let your seat bones open up, breathing all the way through to the wall. Exhale, draw the ribs down and just let everything relax into that ball. And just play there for a few minutes on each side. And I'll show you on this other side. I'll just shift my block over to my other hip. Okay, you find that stable spot where you can drop this hip, place the lacrosse ball along the sacrum. And again, I'm gonna do some abduction, adduction. Just trying to really relax and open through your sit bones and your pelvis. And do some pelvic tilts, anterior, posterior, tuck the butt. And of course, you can also just focus on your breath. Breathe in, expand, breathing all the way through to the wall. Exhale, draw the ribs down, relax into that lacrosse ball. You can move it along that sacrum and find those tender spots. And just really take your time and work through any tension that you find, okay? And you should be pretty amazed at what a difference just a few minutes spent on that release work will make for your body, especially when you're someone who deals with chronic tension at the pelvis or in your hips, or even chronic pain, especially through the hips. The pelvis is very, very connected to our feet, to our hips, to our core. So it's important to spend some time giving it some extra TLC. I hope that you get benefit out of that. But regardless, enjoy. If you need any help or you want to get involved in my private community and my membership program, Fix Your Body, Live Your Life, comment below, coach me, and I'm always here to chat. So until next time, have a great day and talk to you soon.